The Lebanese Hezbollah resistance reaffirmed its commitment to the total liberation of the land in Lebanon and the independence of Palestine. In Greece, a cargo ship flying the flag of Comoros was shipwrecked on Sunday with 14 people on board southwest of the island of Lesbos. And the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs warned about the intensification of the armed conflict between the military forces of Myanmar and several armed groups. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Qatari authorities leading the process of temporary agreements for a humanitarian pause between Palestine and Israel confirmed that 13 Israeli hostages will be released on Sunday. Also, as part of a separate agreement between the Palestinian resistance and the Iranian government, 7 foreigners will also regain their freedoms this Sunday. Although the Zionist government has not officially confirmed it, 39 Palestinians kidnapped in the occupation jails could be released on the same day. So far, Hamas has released 26 Israelis, 14 Thais and 1 Filipino, while 76 Palestinians have been released on the Israeli side. The United Nations report shows that Israel is violating the aid clause during the humanitarian truce agreement, since according to the international organization, only 268 trucks carrying aid have entered the Gaza Strip out of the 600 agreed upon. According to the figures provided by the United Nations control, only 61 trucks with humanitarian aid enter daily, and not the 200 agreed, representing a quarter of the expected assistance. The mayor of Gaza confirmed this Sunday to the Qatari channel Al Jazeera that not a single liter of fuel has entered the zone. On the other hand, the member of the Hamas Politburo, Osama Hamdan, detailed that the number of trucks with humanitarian aid that has arrived in the north is less than half of what the agreement stipulates. While Western media yells about Israeli hostages, here we have some facts you might probably not know about how Palestinian children have been treated by Israel during the decades of occupation. 13,000 Palestinian children have been arrested or detained by Israel in the last 20 years alone. Israel abducted more than 800 Palestinian children in 2023. Israel is the only regime in the world that tries children in military courts, subjecting them to torture and abuse. Many of them have been imprisoned in Israeli prisons without charge or trial, many of whom have never been convicted. The Lebanese Hezbollah resistance reaffirmed its commitment to the total liberation of the land in Lebanon and the independence of Palestine. Hezbollah's Deputy Secretary General Naim Qassem emphasized that resistance is the choice to free Al-Aqsa, Jerusalem, Lebanon, and the whole region from the pressures, and indicated that Hezbollah's political options are aligned in this direction. Qassem highlighted the current scenario as very promising, despite the heavy losses. The Deputy Secretary General pointed out that the operation of the Palestinian resistance Al-Aqsa flood represented a formidable action that left a deep mark on the Israeli entity. In this regard, he assured that the resistance in Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen are united in support of Gaza and Palestine. The United Nations peacekeeping force in Lebanon confirmed that fire from the Zionist Israeli army hit one of its units. According to an official UN report, the Israeli gunfire hits a UNIFIL patrol in the vicinity of Ait Harun, causing material damages to the vehicle but no injuries to the troops. The incident took place on Saturday at around 12 p.m. local time, within a period of relative calm, and was condemned by the United Nations Task Force, which described it as deeply troubling, while reminding the occupying forces that Israel is a signatory to an agreement that preserves the integrity of peacekeeping forces. Since the Israel-Palestine conflict began on October 7th, the frontier between Lebanon and Israel has seen intensifying exchanges of fire, mainly between Israel and Shia movement Hezbollah, but also Palestinian groups, raising fears of a broader conflagration. In Spain, the City Council of Barcelona approved a declaration suspending institutional relations with the government of Israel until there is a definitive ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. According to local media, the mayor's office of Barcelona requested that the basic rights of the Palestinian people be guaranteed. The declaration calls for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas to be approved on a permanent basis. Barcelona also condemned the attacks against the civilian population, as well as any kind of collective punishment against the citizens. The municipality rejected the forced displacement, the systematic destruction of homes and civilian infrastructure, and the blockade of energy, water, food, and medical supplies by Tel Aviv against the population of the Gaza Strip. Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back from the south. In Colombia, a Palestinian family has arrived after national government mediation achieved their departure from Gaza. After long days of anguish and uncertainty in the Gaza Strip, the Palestinian citizen Samahir Ali Said al-Masri and her family managed to escape from the Israeli siege. A humanitarian gesture of the Colombian government made possible the naturalization of the whole family. They were first reunited in Egypt, where the Latin American diplomatic representation spent exhausting hours of vigil together with the father of the family, a Colombian Palestinian merchant, until it was demonstrated that the whole family was going through a naturalization process that made them Colombian citizens. On their arrival, they told about the horrors that is being lived in the coastal enclave.
It is a very difficult experience, very painful. Only God knows it. The houses are destroyed. The buildings are falling on the people who are inside. In the street, there is no water because they have cut off the water supply. Total destruction.
According to the Gender Equality Observatory for Latin America and the Caribbean, an organization ascribed to the United Nations, over 4,000 women were victims of femicide in 2022. According to the report, out of the 26 countries in the region analyzed, Honduras, the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, and Uruguay have the highest femicide rates, whereas Cuba has the lowest levels. The report data reveals that 70% of the victims were between 15 and 44 years of age. ECLAC Executive Secretary Jose Manuel Salazar said the figures are unacceptable and urged to redouble efforts to prevent femicides. Some 5 tons of cocaine were confiscated during a maritime operation by the armed forces in the Galapagos Exclusive Economic Zone while being transported in a semi-submersible. Located between Colombia and Peru, the world's main cocaine producers, Ecuador has become a logistical hub for shipping cocaine to the United States, Europe, and Central America. The discovery was made during an operation in the Exclusive Economic Zone in the insular area, the armed forces said on the social media X, formerly Twitter. The nation seized 189 tons of drugs as of mid-November. The record was reached in 2021 when it seized 210 tons. As a result of the operation, which took place 150 miles south of the Galapagos Islands, 3 Colombian nationals were apprehended and handed over to the corresponding authorities. Venezuela hosts the 6th Central American and Caribbean School Sports Games. Over 2,000 athletes between the ages of 15 and 17 take part in the competition. The games will run until November 30th. The sporting event features 10 countries whose athletes compete in 12 disciplines such as swimming, table tennis, volleyball, boxing, taekwondo, basketball, karate, track and field, chess, and weightlifting. In Venezuela, Rodwell Ferguson, Transport and Sports Minister of Belize, congratulated the nation's authorities for the excellent organization of the Central American and Caribbean School Games and wished all the delegations success representing their country.
First of all, I'd like to thank my associate, Leonardo, and the other Leonardo for doing an excellent job. And likewise, the Minister of Sports, I know him since Colombia. I was in Colombia this year, and they are very welcoming. I appreciate the stay. I hope I can come back another day. Well, not only the Caribbean, the entire region, and I want to tell them to do extremely well and they are representing their country, and so they must make sure when they go back they can take a medal.
Belize's Transport and Sports Minister praised the nation's small delegation and said they were getting ready to take part in the Paris 2024 Olympic Games.
Okay, we are a very small country with 400,000 people. We were only able to bring 5 athletes, 3 males and 2 females. 14. Yeah, we always participate, but unfortunately we cannot send as many because of limitations. We are definitely going to participate, especially in athletics.
We now have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. A final short break now, don't go away. Welcome back from the south. In Greece, a cargo ship flying the flag of Comoros was shipwrecked on Sunday with 14 people on board southwest of the island of Lesbos. According to the Greek Coast Guard, the ship wrecked about 4.5 miles off the island of Lesbos. At the moment, only 1 passenger could be rescued in time by Navy helicopters, while the remaining 13 are still missing. The cargo ship was carrying salt and sailed from Egypt to Istanbul. The authorities reported that 5 Coast Guard vessels and 2 helicopters are deployed in search of the missing. Some 800 environmentalists from the Let's Next Generation group blocked traffic on the capital's 17th of June Street between the Victory Column and the Brandenburg Gate on Saturday. The radical environmentalists were accompanied by members of other groups that fight against environmental damage to block the passage of vehicles on the aforementioned central road. On this occasion, the participants in the demonstration avoided using powerful glue that they smear on their hands to attach themselves to the streets, which on previous occasions forced the German authorities to use solvents and even cut or tear off fragments of asphalt. Since last year, this group has been blocking the main streets of this city and other cities in the country to demand immediate measures to prevent the increase of the average temperature in the world. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs warned about the intensification of the armed conflict between the armed forces of Myanmar and several armed groups. According to the organization, armed clashes have intensified again. The organization stated that as of Wednesday, November 22nd, almost 335,000 people in multiple states and regions had left their place of residence as a result of the escalation of the fighting. The organization detailed that so far, more than 2 million people have been displaced throughout the country. However, many others reported difficulties in moving to safer locations due to the fact that both the armed forces and ethnic armed organizations are blocking key transportation routes in several municipalities where fighting is still active, further hindering humanitarian access. A massive Ukrainian drone attack on several Russian provinces left at least 1 person injured on Sunday. The country's air defense forces destroyed 11 unmanned aerial vehicles over the territory of Moscow, Tula, Kaluga, and Bryansk provinces. For his part, the governor of Tula province, Alexei Yumin, reported that one of the 2 devices shot down in the area lost control and crashed into a flat block, causing a cut wound to a resident. Yumin said that the victim received medical assistance from the emergency services and repairs to the affected flats will be carried out in the next few days. And as part of this attack on Saturday, part of the territory of Donetsk was left without electricity as a result of a massive Ukrainian attack. The head of the Russian Republic, Denis Pushilin, reported that the massive drone attacks had damaged the region's electricity system and said that despite the difficult situation, electricity engineers have already restored power in several settlements and are continuing to work to restore full power supply. On Saturday, attempts to reach 41 construction workers stuck in a collapsed tunnel in northern India for 2 weeks were again hindered Rescuers had been working by hand to remove debris after the drilling machine they were using broke down a day earlier while making its way through the debris of rock, stones and metal, but the operation was halted on Saturday. Arnold Dix, an international expert assisting the rescue team at the accident site in Uttarakhand state, said it is unclear when the drilling will be able to start again. The machine stopped working after it had drilled about 2 meters of the last stretch of 12 meters of rock debris that would open a passage for the workers to come out from the tunnel.
The drilling, the augering, has stopped.
Yeah.
It's too much for the auger, okay?
Okay.
It's like our auger is it's not going to do anything more. We're looking at, as we've always been, multiple options, but with each option we're considering how do we make sure that 41 men come home safe and we don't hurt anyone.
Right.
Now, to do that,
Yeah.
we evaluate all of the evidence that we have about how the mountain's behaving. Now, the mountain has again resisted the auger, and so we're rethinking our approach.
On Saturday, a fire tore through a shopping mall in the southwestern Pakistani city of Karachi, killing at least 11 people and injuring 22 others, according to Mayor Murtaza Wahab. The multi-story RJ Mall is in a commercial high-rise that also houses call centers and software firms. The fire department dispatched 8 fire trucks to the scene after being alerted at 6:30 a.m. local time. Chief Fire Officer Ishtiaq Ahmed Khan said the fire was extinguished and a cooling process was underway. He also added that the 4th floor of the building was the most affected. Furthermore, he said that 5 of the 22 injured were in critical condition. The cause of the fire was not immediately clear.
So far, I can confirm that 11 people have unfortunately died because of the incident and 22 people are injured. Out of those 22 people, 5 are sort of critical, and all of those people are at the hospital right now and they are being treated and attended to. We are trying our best to do whatever it takes to save their lives and to provide them with whatever treatment that is required for saving their lives.
In Kenya, the number of deaths due to rains and floods generated by the El Niño weather phenomenon rose to 70. As reported by government authorities on Saturday, the rains caused severe damage to some 36,160 homes due to flooding, leaving more than 700,000 people displaced in the region. Meanwhile, the armed forces are deployed by air in order to airlift any goods needed in different areas hit by the floods, such as food supplies and drinking water. According to Kenya's Meteorological Department, the rains will continue until January 2024. And also in Kenya, an elephant has given birth to a set of twins, a conservation group said on Friday, a rare event for the planet's largest land mammals. Save the Elephants said that the twins, both female, were born in the Samburu National Reserve in northern Kenya to a mother named Alto, describing it as a double joy. Twins make up only about 1% of elephant births, although another pair, one male and one female, were born in the same reserve in early 2022. A video posted on X, formerly Twitter, by Save the Elephants showed the baby elephants feeding from their mother alongside other members of the herd. African elephants have the largest gestation period of any living mammal, carrying their young for nearly 22 months and give birth roughly every 4 years. We have come to the end of this news brief, but before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share our newscast and contribute to provide an alternative news source of the latest world events. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and you can also join us on our social medias on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.